as we age, you lose muscle.
Yeah.
So now it's like strength training builds bones. You know, it makes you strong, not just like muscular and chiseled, but it's protecting your body. You know, it's really protecting your body for what's out there, which is fucking life.
Can't afford, that's why I'm front line, hand the sword. I do this all for myself, not the cash or no damn award. I need intelligence to craft my bars. I need the medicine that grows effervescent from the hands of God. I need inheritance to slash the odds, create a pipeline to the well while you grasp for straws. 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions, 8 questions.
Welcome back to the 8 Questions Show. This month's topic is physical perfection. What does it mean to be physically perfect? You go online, you see models, you see athletes, you see superheroes, chiseled, ripped, in perfect physical form, and then you look at yourself and you go,
I'm not that.
I'm not that. Should I be like that? Is there a perfect physical body? Is it obtainable? Is it an ideal that is unrealistic? Well, today we have a special guest, Coach John Rahn, the owner of Believe Elite Fitness. And we're going to ask him 8 questions this month. And by the conclusion of this series, we will know, is it possible to be physically perfect? Is it achievable? And if so, how do you do it? Coach, how are you today?
Doing well. How are you guys?
Can't complain. Thank you for coming down to the compound, sir.
Good to be here.
Absolutely.
So, Coach, tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, inform our listeners on how much you, in fact, have been working in this industry and how much you know.
So I started in this industry, really honestly, when I was like 14 years old. I got employed at a local gym in my hometown of Monroe, New York, to be the guy behind the desk where you just, key card in. But I loved it because it got me a free gym membership, and I just like that environment. So I got into training and everything through my older brother because we were both athletes, and we had a weight set in our garage. I was constantly doing push-ups from the young age of like 6th grade and up. Every Rocky movie was in my ear. Eye of the Tiger. I had that yellow cassette thing that that was a badass little thing. They should bring that back. But I remember just like in my parents' basement, just doing workouts, listening to Eye of the Tiger, and I just loved the feeling of just sweating it out and like kind of getting there's a little bit of pain, little uncomfortableness, but the euphoric concept of training and feeling good was something that like I just kept coming back for more, and it was like hitting a jump shot, like gotta do it again. So I got into that world very early, and then fast forward through college sports and moving on into adulthood. I graduated from Binghamton University in 2007, and bounced around from like 6 different jobs, being a bouncer at a bar, working security, janitor, Woodbury Commons, selling shoes. Yeah. And then I became a personal trainer.
I see.
And once I got into the personal training world, I really started to see it's a grind. There's a lot to it. It's more sales than it is anything else. You got to make a sale and then you develop the relationship.
Yeah.
So it was hard. And especially at like these franchise gyms and these box gyms, like you gotta be weird. You gotta go up to people and be like, hey, so you weren't breathing.
Exactly.
Like one of those. And it's like, it's just very uncomfortable, but it's like nowadays, like asking like a teenage kid to go pick up a girl. They don't know what the fuck to do.
No, 100%. Yeah. Exactly. You got to put your best foot forward.
So,
if you got one.
Again, all that experience helped me out a lot. So by the time I was, 19, I got certified as a personal trainer when I was about like 20 years old, and I pushed it more once I got out of college. And once I started bouncing around from job to job, I was like, all right, this is insane. I got a college degree. Like I need to get a job.
Exactly.
And my father was a retired NYPD lieutenant. A lot of my uncles are all in law enforcement. So that was a route that I was trying to pursue.
Yeah.
And I took some local PD jobs or local PD tests and interviews, and I was climbing the ranks with that, and then I put my name in the hat for a federal job, federal law enforcement, and I ended up getting the call to do that. So I took it and I ran with it, and I got into my career there, and that kind of put a halt on the personal training stuff because I just had to get into that. But I always kept training. It was a great outlet for me.
Yeah.
After work, being in law enforcement is a very stressful career. So, training and keeping your body and your mind healthy were always something that I wanted to continue to do. And then I hated that job. Like, I just didn't love being in law enforcement. It wasn't for me. I did it for about 4.5 years. I had a great career, met a lot of great people, but I wanted to go after my passion and build a gym and a training facility. So my story goes into training younger athletes in my local community, and I was able to build a gym out of my parents' garage. And fast forward now, I did that back in 2011, 2012, and now I'm here now. So, I look back on those years, and I was able to grow a brand, a business, Believe Elite Athletic Training, and I'm training guys now that are at, top tier UFC fighters, guys that have participated in Olympic Games, national champions, state champions, elite youth level athletes. So, very blessed to do that. But yeah, my fitness journey has, gone different ways,
Right,
but selfishly, it's about me, I love fitness. I love being in the game. I like the challenges of it. And, it's a lifestyle, it's discipline and it's balance. So yeah, that's the story. We're looking at, I'm 38 years old.
Segue,
I'm 38 years old. I started training when I was like 12.
You know what? That's a perfect story. And thank you for letting the people know all my accolades in terms of USC fighting and Olympic game training of myself. I appreciate that.
You got
it. No, but you said it earlier, about like, you just like how it makes you feel. So the first question of the 8 question show in the compound is, how important is exercise?
I think exercise is your lifeline. I think movement's medicine. As simple as that. I think if you're not exercising, you're putting yourself in that grave sooner than you should be there. If you don't exercise right now, you're going to lose the fight is how I look at that, because, you look at people as they get older, like that older, grandma or grandpa, like God forbid they take a spill, they fall. Right. It's like instant. They're immobile. Yeah.
Break
this
their
just
hip,
happened.
that's
Just break your hip, done. This just happened to a buddy of mine, his father, and it's terrible because, like, you're already in a stage in life where you've seen so much, you've done so much, and then it's like, nope, you can't move. I just think in that context, exercising, keeping yourself healthy, keeping your heart healthy, keeping your mind sharp. I think exercise brings that out. There's been studies about waking up early and training in the morning.
Yeah.
I think younger kids should be doing that still. I don't think the school day. Yeah. You're training at what time? 6 a.m.
6 a.m. baby.
Yeah. I was in my facility today at 6 a.m. with a athlete. And then yesterday I was in at 5:45. It's kind of like attack mode. And I think exercise honestly is something that's what doctors should be prescribing.
I heard this idea that it was only recently that we had the leisure of being immobile and just kind of sitting around.
Yeah.
That, like, our whole evolutionary history, we had to move. If we wanted to harvest, hunt, we were nomadic, we were in a perpetual state of movement.
Right.
So a lot of, like, our genetics and the way we're built has that already factored into it. Like, we're supposed to be doing this. Absolutely. And then we just stopped out of nowhere.
Yeah.
What ultimately are the effects of that?
Yeah.
Well, you're seeing it. You're seeing it with adults and youth. It's obesity. It's, personally, man, I remember playing every sport there was.
Yeah.
In my development. It's you were playing kill the man with the ball, which wasn't even a sport, but it was like, yo, we're moving. Someone might die today, but let's get it going. Wiffle ball, regular baseball, name something, even if it was manhunt.
Manhunt.
You were going, you were doing it.
100%.
I don't see kids at the park. You know, and I know everyone, you know, people talk about this, but it's like nothing's being done about it, you know? And I think that's where the immobility comes in. It's like, yeah, we're not moving because we're on our iPads, our phones, or, you know, and it's definitely something that's starting to catch up because I see it in my world being a coach to hundreds of athletes on all different levels. You get kids coming in younger and younger, and they're classified as athletes because they wear a uniform, but they don't move like athletes. You know, they don't look like athletes. So, and I know the difference, you know, and that it's a shame because it's sad to see it with such young kids. But then you know that there has to be something at the home base where this is not, it's not being reinforced. You know, there's a huge disconnect. Even in gym class, there's a disconnect.
You know what? It's funny you say that because one, I've never felt like this, and yeah, of course, I was an athlete my whole life too. So I played football and track my entire life, and then I got away from it when I went into the professional world. Yeah. Right? You know, trying to build a financial planning practice.
Yep.
That's brutal in the beginning, and your health suffers because all you're trying to do is build something, but then your eating habits suffer and your exercising suffers, and it actually put me into the hospital in 2019. Right. Wow. So now that, and after that health scare, I've taken health, at least exercising, seriously. So if someone just wanted to just start, because a lot of people, I believe when they hear that word, they're like, I'm not trying to jog 25 miles a day. I need to start somewhere. So if someone's listening here, like, listen, I want to adopt the lifestyle. But you being the professional, what would you tell somebody to how would they start that change in their life in terms of to get healthy?
So honestly, the first thing I would tell someone to do is find a professional to help you get started.
Without question.
Because I feel like a lot of people will just go on social media and you scroll up to one David Goggins video and all of a sudden
you're
the biggest pussy in the world because you don't want to run 100 miles, which I love Goggins, but you know,
he's a little intense. He's extreme.
Yeah.
His book is amazing too, but he's
a rare breed of human, you know?
Yes, without question.
So I do think the starting point would be to find a good coach to guide you, you know, because not everybody's the same. And we are talking about people that haven't moved a lot. So you can't go from 0 to 100 because you're gonna get hurt. You're gonna get hurt, then you're gonna get disappointed, then you're gonna quit.
Exactly.
That's how it goes, you know? And I think if you just find the right guidance and build yourself up, you know, people look at 6 months as a long time when it comes to like being consistent and training. Yeah. It's not a long time in life.
No, it ain't.
No.
And in 6 months, you could change so much shit.
Right.
I mean, I just finished the 75 hard.
Oh, I commend you on that.
What is that?
Oh my God.
So 75 days straight, no alcohol, no cheat meals, gallon of water a day, 2 workouts a day. One is 45-minute indoor, and then there's a 45-minute outdoor. And then you have to read 10 pages of a book each day. So I did that for 75 days. And that I would say to someone who's just getting into it, that's not a good starting point. Because that was really hard. And there were definitely days where like I did it because I wanted to do it and then I just felt like I needed to do it.
Yeah.
But 75 days staying consistent, that's what, 10 weeks?
Exactly, yeah.
It's hard. It's fucking very hard.
Especially doing that.
Yeah, you know, and I did it. I was partying with a buddy of mine in his pool Memorial Day weekend. Yeah. He was crushing beers and I was drinking water. Yeah. And I was like, this sucks. Then I went to the beach on July 4th and my buddy's drinking White Claws and hanging out at the beach in the sand. I'm in my seat and I'm like, this sucks. You know, like, yeah. But I knew where I was at and I know myself. So that's the other thing is like, you got to find yourself. You got to find your why.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you're saying you want to do this, but why do you want to do it? I think that's really where a true coach and a professional can come in and say, let's nail that first before I tell you, you got to work out 3 days a week and this is what you're going to do, because you got to know why you want to do it. And then if you have a coach, like such as myself, I tell my athletes and my clientele all the time, like, you tell me your goal is going to become one of my goals, you know? So we're in it together. Like if you have a team or a companion or, you know, it makes life a lot easier. If you're flying solo, it's pretty tough.
Can you touch on some of these ideas surrounding exercise as medicine? You brought that up, and I'm wondering, like in your research, what are some different like actual health benefits that people will end up realizing after they start this journey?
I just think the cardiovascular standpoint, number one, like your heart health, starting to walk more and, not just filling your body with pills all day, I think is a great starting point. I mean, the research behind that is, when you do a stress test, they put you on a treadmill.
They put you on a treadmill. I had to do that.
What happens if you haven't been on a treadmill? I've done it. What happens if you haven't been on a treadmill? Like owning your own business is fucking I've done the stress test, So I mean, think about that.
Yeah, for sure.
So we got cardio.
I mean, from
energy, I think.
Yeah, 100% energy, and then the focus side of things, but also like muscle mass. A lot of people and a lot of females are afraid to build muscle, right? Because they just think they're going to be a bodybuilder. And then you also have and some men are like that too.
Yeah,
like, I don't want to get too big. It's like, calm down,
relax.
Like we got some time before that happens. But going back to what I said before, like as we age, you lose muscle.
Yeah. So
now it's like strength training builds bones. It makes you strong, not just like muscular and chiseled, but it's protecting your body. It's really protecting your body for what's out there, which is fucking life.
Right, 100%.
Like, if you do take a fall, how bad's the bruise? Like, are we getting up from that, or we got to call an ambulance that costs $900 to come to the house?
Exactly.
I just think it's those things where the research behind it. I mean, like you said before, like back in the day, people moved. They probably didn't go to the hospital that much. They just got through life because they were strong and tough, and now it's a obviously way different world.
Right. I want to ask you a question about finding, before we wrap up the first question, finding the right trainer, because as you know, with your experience in not building this big brand in Monroe, finding the right trainer from a physical training standpoint can be hard, because you have people who will go into a gym who probably just took the job and not really serious.
Absolutely.
Right. And they're go up to someone, but they don't know what they're doing or where to start. So somebody who's like, okay, John, or okay, coach, I want to go ahead and start this journey. And you said that I need a coach. What questions do I need to ask to make sure that this person knows what they're doing?
It's a great question.
That's a really good question. And it's kind of hard to nail that down, because one, I would say, I think the initial meeting says a lot. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm a coach, you're a client, you gotta feel right with me.
Exactly.
Before you sign any papers or say, hey, here's my investment to you.
Exactly.
As far as from like a professional standpoint, I have a good amount of certifications. I don't think anyone's ever asked me how many what are you certified in?
Exactly.
It's just like my degree. I got asked my degree once in my professional career, and it was like on a piece of paper for Homeland Security. Other than that, never been asked. So I'm not going to say you got to get a list of credentials.
Yeah.
I think, I do think word of mouth is helpful, because you're getting other people's feedback. Like that's how I grew my business. Mm-hmm. And in different areas, there's probably one or two fitness professionals that have that reputation.
Yeah.
And are known by people. And I think testimonials and things like that are helpful if you're just, kind of Googling like, hey, who's the best out there?
Right.
So yeah, from that standpoint, I mean, it is hard to answer, because once the training begins, then, more like true colors start coming out.
Exactly.
Right? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's, that's a unique question. I mean, I guess I would just say to do your due diligence with your research, ask some people in your network who may know someone who has trained with them. I mean, how did you find us? How did you find Rob?
I found Rob. I said, a personal trainer near me came up and believably had like all these raving reviews from like athletes. Like my son is a college athlete at Penn State and coached with, and trained with. I'm like, if he's training college athlete, because being a college athlete, I'm like, I'm very particular and make sure a trainer knows what the hell they're doing. Because I've been through that like all my life. So when I saw that Believe Elite was training athletes, college athletes that are coming back home.
That makes sense.
And going to the gym.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh yeah, okay. So this place knows exactly what they're doing. So that's what turned me on to Believe Elite. Then you had like some guy who it was like a picture of him holding like a dumbbell like this. I'm like, yeah, that's not right.
Yeah, that's the stock
photo.
Yeah,
like 5 pounds he's doing. I'm like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
But
he's obese.
So, question: how important is exercise? According to Coach JR and me and Brian, black belt judo, it's very, very important. Very, very important. So, like he said, doctors should prescribe more of this movement in general. But like Coach said, you have cardiovascular health, you have energy, you just have your overall well-being. So start moving. So tune into the next show, next question, where we ask Coach JR.
Is there a perfect physique?
Boom. See you all next time. On the next episode of the A Question Show.
Kind of go into those worlds where you're going after that perfect physique.
Yeah.
And it's like, dude, you know, everybody needs to have their kind of own definition of perfect and stop looking for, you know, I want to look like that person on Instagram. I want to look, because you don't know what they're doing.